Good afternoon. Welcome back to TwoTon's Epiphany. Today, this is going to be the third video, but episode 2, entitled Repercussions. Basically, what I'm going to talk about today is how a lot of people, it's real easy for people to judge because people suck and they're really shitty and they just see like a fat guy out in public and they're like, how did he get so big? Why didn't he take care of himself? And generally they can be like intolerant and rude. But most people don't actually understand the day-to-day struggles of being someone who's this big. And if for some reason this is the first time you're seeing, I've lost 152 pounds. I was 550 at my heaviest, and I'm currently 398-ish. I might be a little higher now because we were on vacation this week, my wife and I. We went to Central PA. I live about an hour east of Pittsburgh, but we went over and stayed in my sister's house in Poconos, and we went to Gettysburg, and we went to Hershey Park and went to do the Chocolate Town experience. It was a lot of fun, and we ate some stuff we weren't supposed to eat. Insert Halo here, but it's all good. Everybody needs a vacation, so essentially, we went and walked around, saw the sights. Gettysburg was amazing. Just driving through the battlefield. I hadn't been there since I was a kid. You can feel the energy there. You can really feel all the pain and, sense how much blood is soaked into the earth in that battlefield. It's just a 3-day deadly battle. It was crazy. And when you drive through there, you can just kind of feel that energy and you almost sense the spirits of these soldiers that fought each other. So I needed it, and we needed a little trip. It was good. My wife and I are coming up on 29 years in November together as married. We've been together over 30 years. So every once in a while, man, you got to take a little vacation. You got to get out there. Oops, sorry. A lot of times you got to get out there, get a vacation, get some time to yourself, and that way you can kind of recuperate your mentality. I think that's very important to do. So, like I was saying today, this episode's called Repercussions. I'm going to talk about just the struggles that somebody who's my size has, and it's important for some people who just look at fat people and be like, "Oh, they're fat and lazy, fucking piece of shit," blah blah blah. There's a lot more to it than that. It's not, for whatever reason, somebody's that size. That's a different story than what we're talking about here, because you know if you watched the last episode, that could very well be a reason. You know, trauma, sexual assault. Um, Perhaps you had a really shitty family growing up. Maybe your mom or dad was alcoholic, or your parents beat you, or um, could be any number of things that could give you just that little nudge over into the world of comfort food and eating as a sort of emotional safety net. Um, and that's how it is for a lot of people. So, but you know, me personally, I I don't believe that, you know, I'm not one of those like fat people who like demands accommodation for my size. I won't freak out if a chair doesn't fit me. I know I can't go on roller coasters, so I'm not going to yell at people at the parks if I go to a theme park or something. You know, the fact of the matter is, I don't scream and cry because I'm ultimately the one who became this size, and it's my fault or my reasoning or my happening. I'm not going to take that out on someone else. So, when you're one of those people who like wants the world to just succumb to your obesity like it doesn't exist, and you want the world to think that they have to change what is normal for them because it's not normal for you. Like that whole term fat phobia, that drives me up a wall. I hate that fucking term. Oh, you're fat phobic because you don't have chairs. No, well, they don't have chairs that fit you because you're fat, just like me. I can't complain when, 85% of the people in this country are at least, if not morbidly obese, kind of a normal size. We are in the minority, like the morbidly obese ones. So, it's it's a really kind of tarded word um, that comes from the mouths of these obese people who are kind of, in a sense, they're too weak to take responsibility for their weight, and they want to create that victimhood for themselves. And I will never be that person. It's just fucked up. So let's talk about what kind of struggles. And obviously, at the top of the list is the physical struggles. Um, you know, being being obese, somebody who is morbidly obese and huge. And in my opinion, I would define morbidly obese not by like a percentage of, um, not by a percentage of how much weight you have on you or body fat. For me, it's more like there's a number. I would say for most grown adults, if you're like 3 to 350, puts you like in that obese category. And morbidly obese would be like 400 plus. And I was 550, and I'm, you know, 400ish now. So I'm in that category. I own it. So you have the physical struggles. Obviously, labored breathing, fatigue. There's, you can have aches and pains, back pains. I have arthritis in my knee, and even when I was a kid, I had bad knees before I had like real bad weight issues. But it doesn't help. All that extra weight, man, it doesn't help. So that's, just one more reason why you got to try and get the pounds off. But for someone like me, the reason I got off of trucking was because of my circulatory issues. I had really bad lymphedema in my legs, and it's not just swelling and discomfort and pain. I had leg ulcers, severe dry skin infections. I was in the hospital a couple times for bad skin infections. Most recently, this past January, and I did have a skin graft surgery a couple of years ago, and it was that one that had healed up for like a year, and then an infection came back, and I had to go back in the hospital. So the physical part of it, all of that packed together, and you're going to have issues with weight like this. Um, hygiene's a big thing. I've always kind of prided myself that I could still, even at my heaviest weight, I could still kind of take a shower and clean up. Um, but you have to stay on top of that stuff because infections are a real thing. And if we're trying to be frank here, people who are morbidly obese, they have rolls and folds, and you got to keep your skin clean. If you don't keep it clean, you could really get sick and have more skin issues than you want. So that's the main physical part of it. Obviously, you have issues climbing stairs. Um, you want your ground floor apartments. You don't want like a place with two floors. So you have to accommodate yourself for that. Um, Movie theaters, seats at restaurants. Years ago, I was a cook for Olive Garden, and when I first got hired there, it was like, oh God, 1997, I think. So a long time ago. And when we were training at the store, the one of the trainers, he goes, "We have a Larry chair." I'm like, "What the fuck's a Larry chair?" Well, apparently, back in the '80s, there was one of the first stores that opened up near Manassas, Virginia. They had a customer named Larry something, but he was a real big fat dude. He was like 400 plus, and he loved the Olive Garden so much. But he couldn't fit in any of the chairs, and at the time, the chairs had arms on them. So what they did is Olive Garden upper management, they started to put a thing in us. They put like a bunch of armless chairs in the stores for the larger guests, and they affectionately call them Larry chairs. I call it FGC, fat guy chair. Like I have an FGC at the house here. You know, it's an armless, just cushion chair, uh, tubular steel. It's very strong. So if I go over and like visit my daughter at her house, I take my FGC with me because I don't want to break their furniture and it's comfortable for me. So it kind of goes with me to certain places. But another thing is like physicality. Like when my kids were really young, I couldn't, you know, I was heavy, but I wasn't like super heavy back when they were really young. But somebody who's really big, he can't run around with the kids. He can't do physical things. It's harder to do those things. So, um, all right, hang on. This is really annoying me. Let me check this. Give me 1 second here. Something with the microphone. I'm not quite sure what's going on. Test, test, test. Let's try this. Checking. Check. You there? Check. Check, check, check. So, test, test. Oh, I think we're good. All right. Back to it. So, the physical aspect of being morbidly obese is probably the highest thing you have to worry about. You can't do things you thought you could do. And, just recently when we were at Hershey Park, compared now at 400 to when I was 550, there's no way 60, 70, 80 pounds ago I could have done what I did on Tuesday when we went to Hershey. And if you've ever been to Hershey's Chocolate Town, um, it's like a big giant candy land in there. Not the actual Hershey theme park, but Chocolate Town. And one of their little attractions in there is this little tour you can take. The cars are kind of like what you see at uh, Magic Kingdom with the Haunted Mansion ride where you sit in a car and it just goes through the house. Well, this thing's like a tour and it shows you all the stages of chocolate production. And it was kind of neat. But for me to get there, I had to walk up three full length, like 40-foot ramps that you can bring somebody up on a wheelchair. And I have my cane with me and my knees bothering me, but I was able to do it. And at the top, they had a little staircase down, staircase up. The platform rotated, so you're walking to it. But I got on and off pretty easy, and I handled the steps pretty well. And like I said, I couldn't have done that even a year ago. It would have been really difficult. So those are things that you have to take into consideration when you want to go like on vacation and trips and like air travel. You know, I mean, picture the last time I was on a plane was when my grandmother passed away, um, and that was like 8 years ago. So uh, I had to fly from Orlando Airport to Portland, Maine, and actually we had a layover in Baltimore. But I had to get two seats. I could not fit in one single seat. So for the round trip, I had, you know, the window seat and the middle seat, and my son sat next to me in the aisle seat. But I had two seats for the whole way, and I needed both of them. I really did. With the armrest up, my left hip almost went to the full length of the two seats. I was bigger back then. So um, these are all struggles. These are all struggles, and everything you do in your life to get those pounds off makes those struggles easier till eventually you don't have them anymore. And that's my ultimate goal here. So my ultimate goal weight is like 219. Why is it not 220? Because it's like that psychological shit when you buy something that's $2 and 199 makes your brain think it's cheaper than $2, which it is, but it's still two fucking dollars. So for me, 219 just sounds better. It just sounds better. So that's what I'm going for. 219 is my ultimate goal. Um, you know, other struggles that you obviously have is financial struggles, and I'm not talking about like not being able to pay your bills, but uh, when you are really big, you have other things that you need to buy to accommodate your weight. And I'll give you some examples. I had to get a chair for my shower because at my heaviest weight, I couldn't shower standing up. I had to sit and use a hose and get all my parts and areas. I couldn't. It was hard for me to clean below the waistline while standing, so I had to get one of the, chairs you put in the shower. And I don't use it anymore. I'm actually standing in the shower again, so that's a good thing. Another thing for me, like with my lymphedema, I had bandages and compression garments and ointments and creams and gauze and stuff whenever I had the infections and everything. So a lot of that stuff I had to buy. Anything that had to do with wrapping my legs up, that's out of pocket. Obviously, you're more prone to having breathing issues when you're heavy. So I had to pay for my CPAP machine after I got my prescription from my doctor. So, that comes out of pocket. Um, Obviously, medications. For me, I'm on thyroid medicine and I'm on a diuretic for my chest fluid. And, uh, there's tons of medications that are weight related. All these things add up. I have a seatbelt extension for my car. My seatbelt won't fit in my van. I got a Dodge minivan. So that little 8-inch extension allows me to clip the belt. And pretty soon, hopefully, it won't be needing that. Can't quite buckle it yet. I'm thinking maybe another 20 pounds or so. So it's all these little things. It's just those little things are what you have to shell out extra money because of your weight. It's absolutely a direct result of your weight. So, I mean, in 1 year alone, I think a couple of years ago, I probably spent 1,500 to 2,000 for the year for extra stuff that was mostly like gauze and compression garments and things like that. So it adds up. It adds up, and over the course of a few years, that's a vacation. It's crazy. So the next struggle I want to talk about is obviously relationship struggles. Um, my wife, who is angelic, stunning, sexy as fuck. I'm head over heels in love with this chick, and I can't even imagine my life without her. And a huge part of that love I have for her is her undying, unrelenting loyalty and faithfulness to me. And she has always been there for me, no matter what the issue's been. And I can't imagine my life without her. But the crap that she's had to go through to help me with my weight issues, uh, it's a little rough to think about because she doesn't deserve that, and I don't deserve her. That's one of my, do positive thinking. Yeah, I know, but in my heart, I feel like I don't deserve somebody that good. So many people would not be a part of that, and I can't tell you how how good it makes me feel that I have this woman in my life for all these years, the mother of my children, who's been there for all the ups and downs. And you know, part of those relationship struggles with the weight too is, you know, a lot of time I don't sleep in the bed with her. I sleep on a recliner, and that's been a huge strain. It's one of my greatest personal emotional failures. Is that right now it's hard for me to sleep laying down. I have to be in the recliner. So as the weight comes off and I retrain my body to be able to sleep without dying in the middle of the night because of my breathing issues, that's that's the biggest thing on the top of my list right now. Things I'm looking forward to is that. So now, uh, another struggle that a lot of people have is social. Obviously, we talked about traveling, movie theaters, and stuff like that. But you know, when you're really big, and like for me, a huge fear of mine is like tripping and falling in public and just ending up on a fucking YouTube video. Uh, just I cringe when I see videos of people out there who had no idea they were being recorded. And I'm not going to start any of this. Oh, you privacy. No, you're in public. You could get recorded. Just fucking deal with it. That's possible. But for me, that's something that would keep me from wanting to go out. Uh, is the chance of like falling down or embarrassing myself. God forbid I'm in a restaurant or something and I break a chair. Uh, that would just crush me. You know what I mean? In addition to the fucking chair. Oh, yeah, that was a Freudian slip there. So anyway, um, even now at the weight I'm at, I still do like curbside pickup for my Walmart orders, and it's more of a convenience thing than not wanting to go in the store at this time. But you know, that's a real issue. You don't want to be around people when you know a lot of them are shitty and just will look at you and judge you, and that's a real thing. And that takes me to my next struggles, the mental struggles. You know, when you're really big and you have all these other struggles going on, your mind starts to fuck with you. And then you have feelings of worthlessness, depression. You can I've had nightmares. Uh, Honestly, not a lot of nightmares that are weight related, which is kind of weird. A lot of my nightmares have to do with like family members and friends dying, which doesn't always mean death. A lot of times it means change. And you don't know if change is good or bad until that change happens. So you got to kind of interpret those nightmares with a grain of salt. But another huge mental part for me is feel like I don't feel like I'm attractive to my wife anymore. And I never thought of myself as an attractive person, even when I was skinny. I think I'm just kind of average, and that's just kind of always been my mentality. I don't think I'm anything special. I'm ecstatic that somebody like fell in love with me. That's amazing, and it's not that I never thought I would have somebody, but I certainly don't see myself as like, like a celebrity sex symbol. Obviously, I'm a fat balding guy. I guess I'm average. You know, average one way, not average the others. So it goes back and forth. So essentially, everything boils down to at the end of the day, can you look yourself in the mirror and think about the things that make you happy, even and the things that make you sad and upset, and you have to mold that all into like a ball, and you want it to be as smooth as possible all around it. You don't want that ball to have like bumps on it. You need to be well rounded, and you have to take the good and the bad. And while you're at this size and you recognize and understand all the issues you have because of the weight, you also at the same time need to count your blessings. You need to know in your mind and be thankful for the things you have that are good things. And the blessings for me are a lot more than the bad things, even with this weight, even with the issues I've had, the infections, the hospital, um, the skin issues, the lymphedema. The good things in my life far outweigh the bad things, even with the weight. And the older I get, I guess the wiser I get. I also am calmer than I used to be. Um, the thyroid medicine I'm on has done a lot of good things for like my mood in general. Um, so a lot of that medication has helped me out, for all these years that I've been on. I've been on the thyroid medicine for probably 7 years now. So, so you gotta. It's like that show, The Facts of Life from the '80s. With Tootsie, oh Tootie, whatever the fucking Blair and all them. Mrs. Garrett, you take the good, you take the bad, and take them all, and there you have the facts of life. That's kind of what it is. You got to take the good and the bad, and you got to keep them very close to each other because that's that's what keeps your mind straight. Is you get that contrast, and it's important, and never stop counting your blessings. Like I said, so that's kind of all I got for today. I just wanted to talk about the struggles of things that I go through, and hopefully it can resonate with some of you. Um, I would love to hear from anybody. You can email me at TwoTon'sAdventures, TWOTONS, adventures@gmail.com. If you have any concerns, questions, I'm not a therapist. I'm just a fat guy trying not to be fat, but I'm happy to answer questions or give advice if you're seeking it to the best that I can. So hit me up. If you want to share your weight loss story with me, I'd love to hear from you. Um, I would very much like to have people start corresponding. Um, I'm a little excited. Last week I was checking the analytics on my new podcast, and I had somebody do a download from Scotland. From wee Scotland. It certainly wasn't William Wallace, but if by any chance the guy who downloaded in Edinburgh, Scotland, is listening to this next one, I thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you very much. That's the worst, the absolute worst fucking Scottish accent I think I've ever done. So, but thank you from all the way across the pond in Scotland. Thank you for listening to the show and downloading. I truly appreciate it and hope that that you'll follow the rest of this series and any future podcasts I might have. So, I think that's about it for today. I will post another one next week, of course. Um, and I'm looking forward to getting the rest of this 5-part series out there. And I think ultimately my goal with this podcast is just to help people, because so many people have helped me, and I'm very thankful for that. And the ones, all the people who support me on all my social media with this weight loss journey, it's been extremely humbling, absolutely. And I can't tell you how much fun I'm having with this. It's like crazy, and that'll be one of the episodes coming up, is like what the actual epiphany was, and I'll explain that in a future podcast. So on that note, from Indiana, Pennsylvania, hour east of Pittsburgh, from the Star Wars Command Center in La Casa de TwoTon. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. And never fucking quit being the best person you can be. Thank you for listening and watching. TwoTon out.